Hi, my name is Addison Lorison, and this is my PowerPoint presentation on the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. This act was enforced so people who were working in harsh working conditions would have less mortality rates and less injuries because there are some dangerous jobs out there. And this legislation is significant because it saved many people's lives and assured safer working conditions. The history and background of this act was that it was implanted in 1970 on December 29th by the president at the time named Richard Nixon, and he signed the law which gave the federal government the right to enforce safe and healthy work standards. The targeted audience for this act were workers that were in mines, factories, mills, construction sites, or anywhere with toxic gases or heavy machinery and other high hazard industries. And it was to ensure healthy working conditions. Some cultural implications of this law were decreased deaths in communities related to unsafe work environments. And then I showed this photo of them handling really hot material. The legislation in action. The OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, oversees this act. They're the ones who make the rules, make sure everything's running okay. And an environmental issue that I saw within OSHA is they tend to spend more of their time inspecting more safe work environments rather than spending more time in the more hazardous ones. And this is a downfall because it can potentially cost communities deaths and injuries. The main standards that are set to decrease work deaths are that to make sure that the environment is free of toxic chemicals and other hazardous conditions that can cause serious harm or health conditions or even death to the employees. There are a couple protocols that are enforced, and there are rules that emphasize how to protect their workers. Companies are legally required to look after workers who are at high risk of injuries, and before OSHA can pass anything, it has to go through like extensive, long, and a tedious process, and it involves the public eye and their opinions on it. And the goal of this act is to provide safe equipment, proper training and assistance, safe use and handling, which basically means like transporting the goods, and a safe place to work. Evaluation of this legislation. The short-term effects whenever this act was implanted was including reduced risks and accidents caused by identifying the specific hazards, so identifying what was making the workers sick or what was making them hurt and reducing those things. And then the long-term effects includes, and this was from a website, and it says workplace fatalities have been cut by 60% and occupational injury and illness rates by 40%, which is a tremendous number that was decreased. And a way that families and the community would try to also reduce the amount of deaths and mortalities they would protest to spread awareness, and the harsh working environments became more common after the Civil War, and this was a very hard-fought legislative battle. It lasted decades, and in 1968 it was unsuccessful, but then it finally got passed through the government in 1970. And for the how it's related to the Healthy People of 2023, in 2020 there were 3.4 work-related deaths per 100,000 full-time workers. In comparison, in 2017, where it was 3.5, so it has reduced. So it did reduce in those 3 years. And the desired direction is that they hope to decrease it even more, and the status is improving. And their main goal is to get 2.9 per 100,000 workers by this year. And in conclusion, I think this legislation should remain in effect because we always want less mortality and less deaths in this world, and have safer working conditions without like having the proper equipment when there's harsh gases around, and having the right clothes and proper training. And a recommendation I would make to OSHA to make it even safer would be to focus more on the dangerous environments, like what I said earlier. If they know it's relatively safe, maybe spend more time looking at the more harsher environments where people are really getting hurt. And those are my references. Thank you.